Hi, my name is Rita Dawson. I am sober 24 years. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio originally, and I live in Rock Creek, Ohio. Me and my sister and my father remarried when I was 8, and I think that's where the trauma began for me. The stepmom was not, I think the package deal was just him and not us. And so there was a lot of anger and resentment. I think that's where my life started to turn around, was living with someone who I just never felt really cared for me. My father is in recovery. So at the time, my dad was a workaholic and an alcoholic. And so I always felt like he just turned our lives over to her. I graduated high school at 16.
Okay.
And went to Cuyahoga Community College. And, just again to get out of the house, really wasn't real interested. I always knew that I wanted to go to law school. But at that point of high school, I just didn't care about that anymore. I went to college, and when my sister graduated, she and I went away to Selma, Alabama, where my dad is from, to college. And I believe it was the stepmom's idea, now that I think about that, again, to get us further away from home. So I go to school, and, I think I had a 0.0 GPA. Just, again, young and dumb and wild. And I'm not drinking or doing any drugs. Just didn't care about anything.
Not your priority at the time.
I just wanted to be away from home. I got kicked out of the school because I was voted Miss Selma University there my first year there, and it's a Southern Baptist college, probably the last place I needed to be. And I got caught in the men's dorm with a boyfriend, and so I got my crown taken away.
Oh, wow.
And then I was kind of expelled. I don't know if I was expelled, but put on probation. That's what it was. And so a lot of shame and a lot of guilt behind that. And I think that's when I probably had my first real drink of alcohol. I think it was to escape that shame, because I remember going to college and having that conversation with my aunt saying, don't go and mess up that family name. Go to school, get good grades. And in my mind, I just want to get as far away from you people as I can be. And from school, and I think it was a bunch of us playing a drinking game. And when you lose, you got to take a drink. And, I'm starting to feel better about myself and my situation. And what am I going to do next? Where am I going to go? Because my dad's thing is you go to school or you go to work or you go.
Yeah.
Either or. And then I met someone who, was selling drugs, and they were selling PCP. And I got pregnant during this time and lost the baby. And I think that's the second thing. First I lose my mother, and now I lose a baby that's going to change my whole life and make me a better person and give me all the things that I was lacking as a child myself. And then that didn't happen. And so I lost that baby. And so now, I realized too, people back then, you didn't talk about stuff. You just get back on the horse, it'll be okay kind of thing. And not having any coping skills of how to process my feelings or who I could talk to it about, I just stuffed. And that's when I started smoking PCP. And that was my answer to everything. I just remember the first time smoking and everything in me was alive. Yeah.
So the PCP, you did that for a few years after that, and then
I started freebasing, because freebasing was popular. Mm-hmm. And that started out as, every once in a while. And then we would every 6 months, and then every 3 months, and then every couple months. And then crack cocaine came on the scene. And that was a different story, because it was instant. But I really didn't think I had a problem, because I thought I just, I hadn't been using very long. Um, and so I would look at people and say, well, if I got as bad as her, then, maybe I'll look at myself. Or I would say, well, that hasn't happened to me yet. I still have my house, my animals, my husband, my car. I had still had stuff.
Right.
And so to me, I remember I always said my father valued himself by how much money he made, and so I could see that with myself a little bit of what I had to say that I was okay, and I was not okay. I don't think I ever was okay until I got sober.
Yeah.
I just remember praying. Like I always knew deep down inside that wasn't the life that I wanted to live, but I didn't know how to get out because I needed that stuff, more than ever now. The more I got, the more I needed to use, because every time I had a sane or clear thought, I hated myself. And so I don't ever, like feeling those feelings. So to keep that numb and closed off, I just give me more. I'm doing things I never did before. I'm stealing from family members, neighbors, just doing awful things, unemployable. I've had some great jobs, but, I'd wake up and say, I'm not going back, and not go back and not call. And I had people in my life saying, Rita, what happened? What happened to you? I didn't know what happened. At this point, I'm not looking at myself in the mirror, because I don't recognize myself, and I feel trapped, and I don't know how to get out. I don't know how to tell somebody I am an alcoholic addict, a person with substance use disorder. Well, we didn't call it that back then, but, I don't know how to tell you I need your help, because at this point, I think I'm hopeless. I had somebody to die in my home, somebody smoking crack, and somebody I met in a sober living house at a sober dance, and he was a Vietnam vet and had a heart attack. And because everybody's getting high, nobody even noticed that he was on the couch dead, that kind of stuff. I didn't come from that. That's not supposed to be my story. That's not supposed to happen to me, but when I'm getting high, I don't care, and I do care, but I can't care about you when I don't care about myself. So, like 1996, my house is alcoholic, the dog is alcoholic, the car is alcoholic, the house is alcoholic, everything is alcoholic and addict. And so my cousin comes to visit, and I think when she gets there, she's just mortified because I'm living like an animal now, and that's not how I was raised. And so by now, I'm not talking to my sister, my father. I can't stand them because I think they're judging me because they're both sober, that whole thing. And so I go to Christmas, I wake up this Christmas like any other Christmas, and, there were days I didn't want to use, but once I ingest whatever it is, it's a done deal. All bets are off. And I look up, and I wake up, and the stuff that I had, I'd sold, the night before, and I wake up like, oh my God, here we are, Christmas Day, and I've done it again. But I get to Christmas, and my family, when I get there, I guess they're just like, we got to do something, we got to do it now. So they did an intervention on me on Christmas Day of 1996. Well, I woke up and I thought I had got away, and I'm in the shower and I'm singing some song by Whitney Houston because I'm going to party because I got my Christmas money. And when I come out, they're there, and and bringing me back here. And so I brought myself with me. Wherever I go, I take me with me because I have no coping skills. I don't know how to follow direction. And I'm full blown in my addiction. And I'm only doing it to keep everybody off me, So I did that, and just like one day, the beautiful day like today, and, I was on my way to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I just made a turn and went to somebody's house, because again, I didn't know how to stay sober. I didn't know about triggers and cravings. I didn't know about anything, I really didn't, because I never asked.
Right.
But I was going to do it my way. And then, by now, I've lost everything. The husband was cheating on me. We sold our house. I moved in with an uncle, and it's bad when you move in with somebody that's alcoholic and they're worse than you. It's like, it's time to get sober. So it wasn't shortly after that I did get sober, by God's grace. My cousin came from, she lived in Arizona, and she would come, and she was looking for a job, and she would come and sit with me, and I'd go with her, and she really did help me until I could come back here. So I've been here at Glenbeigh 3 times, and that was my sobriety date is September 14th, 1997. So from that day to this day, I haven't picked up any mood or mind altering substances, and that is an amazing thing in itself,
right?
Because I use for all reasons and all seasons, all emotions, whether they're happy, sad, mad, glad, afraid, ashamed, it didn't matter, I used. And so
what do you think was different this time?
I think what was different this time is that my way wasn't working. And I realized that my Creator had a better plan for me. And the thing was, I always was praying. So I'll tell you another thing what was different. First time I came here to Glenbeigh, back then they gave a 24-hour book, a daily reflection, a big book, 12 and 12. And I read that 24-hour book just about every day. And for me, I can't read stuff like that and still use and think I'm going to be okay. Like, my brain and my body, they don't mesh.
Exactly.
Active addiction and addiction. They don't. Either I'm going to be all in or all out. And I had to realize, and I was afraid. That was the other thing. Being terrified and looking over your shoulder is not a good feeling. And so I think that was my Creator's way of saying, there's something better for you, but you've got to make a choice and a decision. Either you're going to go this way or you're going to go straight. And so, and I didn't trust a whole lot of people, but I had a counselor that was amazing here at Glenbeigh. And she got me to look at myself. And because I would blame, I think the first time I came here to Glenbeigh, you had to do a 4th and 5th, and mine was blaming everybody. That did me wrong. I had no idea that's not what it's about. It's about me looking at me. And so I don't know. I just knew that something, when you hate yourself. And the other thing was, I never looked at myself. So to get a good look at myself was really hard. Like, what happened? This is not who you're supposed to be. And I remember my sponsor saying to me that when she met me, I had dead eyes. That was powerful, like dead eyes, dead. Yeah, I realized today, my sponsor said when I got sober that amends to my dad needed to come first because of his age. And, tomorrow's not promised, and there was just some things I needed to do. And I needed to look at me. And looking at that part, that column of the part I played was really hard, because how do I play a part in some of this? But I did. I held on to this stuff for years and drank over it, used over it.
Do you have any words of hope that you can share?
The words of hope that I will share is pick up a phone. Pick up if you have a phone, just, even if you go on to, I don't know, there's so many websites, and just put in there that you need help. Call Glenbeigh, call somebody. There's so many resources today. I think that people get to a meeting. Just get to a meeting and just tell somebody you need help. I don't know. I I think if that's a loaded question. Like I'm sitting here thinking, what would I say to somebody? I had somebody call me today, and it's like, call admissions, see what's out there, because if one place can't help you, hopefully they're giving you another resource or recommendation of who can help you. But we got to follow up. You just have to stick and stay and do the next right thing if you want help. And I won't say if you want help, because sometimes I didn't know I wanted help at all times. So call somebody, get to a meeting, ride your bike, walk. You'll be amazed where a meeting is in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, call me. You can call me. I'll come take you to a meeting.
That's very sweet of you.